Before I introduce you to my next guest today, I want to make sure that you're aware of two new resources to help you to increase your productivity, clarify your purpose, and improve your communication skills. The first one is our Facebook community called Leadership with Purpose. So it's a private community. So go to Facebook groups, search for Leadership with Purpose, and send a request to be invited into the group. There's a few questions for you to answer, and then live to have you a part of that community of other like-minded leaders. Our team is really excited about launching the Next Level Coaching Roadmap. It's a group coaching format, so highly recommend that you check that out and to get your questions answered. If you're a leader that's experiencing any of the following, this is definitely a group format that's going to help you break through to your next level within leadership and your career. So if you have any fear about moving to the next level in your leadership career, this is a group that you'll want to connect with. If you have loss of confidence, if you're kind of confused, like not knowing really how to tap into the hidden job market, if you have a desire to really to grow to the next level, this is definitely a group that you'll want to be able to connect with. If you want to know how to stay calm in a high stress environment, there's going to be strategies, tips, and resources, conversations all around how to develop skills to do just that. So if you want more information, head over to warrenwandling.com/the next level coaching. And in there on that page, you'll notice more information about the coaching roadmap, but also there's a link for you to schedule a phone call with me so we can help really figure out if this is the right fit to helping you take your career to the next level. Okay, again, that's warrenwandling.com/the next level coaching. Well, welcome back to another episode of How to Become an Obstacle Buster. I'm your host, Warren Wandling, the show that's dedicated helping leaders and entrepreneurs to overcome their obstacles, build resilience, and achieve success. And I have a great guest to help us do just that, Michael Buzinski. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to our conversation today. As a lifelong entrepreneur, digital marketing thought leader, author, chief marketing officer for Buzzworthy Integrated Marketing. Tell us about your business.
So Buzzworthy is a integrated marketing firm, which is different from a lot of marketing firms that you run into in the online business, because a lot of agencies will have a vertical that they might be serving, which is fine, but they usually are only looking at strategy, or they may only be focused on delivering one or two tactics. And then you have others that are full stack agencies, and full stack agencies, unfortunately, a lot of times they run into just having a lot of tactics and very little strategy. And so we're a strategy first agency with tactical employment. And the integrated marketing part of that is that we integrate the marketing into the business rather than having marketing run beside a business. And that way that it can be lockstep with the business. And when we can accomplish that, then we can integrate sales, customer service, and all the other things that make a great business awesome by doing just that.
Wow, that's really interesting. I love that model in reference to integrating marketing with it instead of as a separate, like a silo department. It sounds like you are able to leverage the importance of marketing within the business.
100%.
So what's the greatest obstacle your clients encounter?
So the biggest obstacle we find with our clients is that they don't understand what even integration is. If you ask 10 people on the street that own a business what integrated marketing is, they would take a guess at integration of marketing in some aspect, but they wouldn't be able to clearly define the fact that integrated marketing is about taking the marketing that is the inbound marketing and the paid marketing and the paid advertising, the all of the networking that people do, referrals, word of mouth, all of that stuff, and then having that all feed into a center or a centric platform that then gets fed through a process of nurturing and a tasking and really literally just integrating within the heartbeat of a company, right? And so that we created this system because most businesses don't know how to do that or that they even need to do that. How many businesses or how long have you even? I can ask you directly. That did you with your business use your inbox from your email as your CRM? Right? Like how often do
Right.
you?
Well, yeah, that would be it. Yeah, we don't do that, but
Yeah,
it
but
could be
back when you
easy.
started, most of us
Yeah.
do, right? And a lot of us can even utilize. I mean, shoot, I utilize my inbox as technically my CRM, customer relations management. So where I kept track of my leads and all these other things that you have to do when you're dealing with sales and marketing. I was able for my own company to do it through $1 million annual revenue. It's not just for the folks. If you have a system, you could do it. Now, could I have done a lot better had I recognized the need for integrated marketing a lot sooner? Heck yeah, I would be in a completely different place. But that's why we're so adamant about it now too, is that, once we started doing it for ourselves, because we saw the need, and I always test marketing tactics and strategies on my own company before I ever bring it to my clients. And once we saw the leverage that it created, oh my gosh. And I never thought, that was the direction my company would ever go. But you got to go where that need is, because there are too many of us that are wasting a lot of time and a lot of leads and losing a lot of money because we're not utilizing integration.
Well, that's fascinating. I know we're going to get into some of those strategies around specifically the integration, but I'm curious around some of the pushback, because if somebody's been in business, they kind of separate marketing. In fact, they separate marketing sometimes from sales, right?
Mhm.
It,
Yeah, always.
so, how do you change that, like the belief system, for them to be embraced the concept of integration marketing?
So I think it comes down to helping them recognize how much integration sales and marketing really already are in, right? Without good marketing, sales doesn't have much to work with, right? And without good sales, marketing has nowhere to go. And so if you haven't recognized that part quite yet, then you're working on a different barrier than anybody who has, right? Because if you can't understand the flow of how a customer comes to know you, engage with you, how you convert them, then ascend them through a what we call a value ladder, and then become a proponent of you or an advocate of you and sing your praises. That's what we call the client value journey. And so integration really has to do with more than just the sale, what we would call the awareness stage and the convert stage, which is your sales side, right? There's more to that. And so what the pushback we get is, why we need to worry about that? And we just show them the numbers. It takes 7 times as much energy, time, energy, and money to get a new client than it is to keep the clients you have. So if I can show people how they can utilize more of the great leads they already are getting into, so they don't have to pay more for advertising, then show them how a integrated marketing strategy can actually convert higher from that, so that you can do less sales calls and get better sales out of it, and then utilize those relationships after the sale so that you can increase your lifetime value of your clients. I mean, all that pushback goes away really fast.
So, what was a key strategy that contributed to your success while you're building your business?
The key strategy for me really came down to boiling marketing to down to the most simplest and lowest common denominator when it comes to KPIs, or key performance indicators. There's over 100 KPIs out there that marketers will tout, right? And as you're growing as a marketer, you're bombarded by them, because you have all these experts out there that are telling you that, hey, as a marketer, if you're not doing this for your clients, you're failing them. And then another guru will come out and say, hey, this strategy right here is the best, or this tactic right here is the key to the success for your clients. As much as business owners are bombarded by people selling these things, marketers are bombarded by the same people trying to get them to buy into those things to sell to their clients, right? And I just felt there was a lot of noise out there, and it just seemed shiny new object issues. And so the strategy was to get rid of all the shiny new objects and look for KPIs that literally only move revenue needles. And so I wrote a book on it called The Rule of 26, and it identifies these three KPIs as unique traffic to your website, your conversion rate of your website, of your website, and the average revenue per client that's coming from your website. And I found that if you increase each of these by 26%, you'll actually get a compounded output of 100% more revenue coming from your website. And from that strategy, we were able to really streamline what it meant for our clients to work with us.
Well, that's interesting discovery.
It was a game changer.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I'm curious in reference to the question around relying on word of mouth and referral marketing, that you believe that's kind of a bad idea if that's your only marketing plan.
Yeah. So, it's so funny. So I work definitely, majority of my clients, a hybrid majority of my clients are all service-based businesses. And if you go to a service-based business and you say, hey, where do you get most of your business from? They'll say word of mouth and referrals, which is great for the first $500,000 to $1 million in revenue. And in some instances, and depending on your industry, could even be into the 2 to maybe 3 million, to where it's like, hey, listen, this is where it's at. But the problem with relying on millions of dollars in revenue coming from people's being on the top of mind or thinking of you every time there's an opportunity to sell your services is a little arrogant. I mean, if you think about it, people have lives. They have kids, wives, friends. They have their own hobbies. Maybe they're running their own business. Like, they're worried about putting food on their table, not necessarily waking up in the morning and going, hey, today my whole goal and the whole focus of my day is to make sure that other people get referrals. Like, nobody wakes up doing that unless that is their business and they get paid that way. And those are called affiliate marketers. And those are completely different, right? When we talk about referrals, we're talking about people who keep you on top of their mind and refer you out. I remember when I was younger, I had family members tell me about their new website. And I'm like, why didn't you come to me? Because they didn't think of it. Even though I'm family, right? And they know I do a really good job of it. They just didn't think about it when it came time, right? We had clients sometimes that didn't realize all the things we did when we were a creative agency. And so if people in your inner circle are not always thinking about you, anybody that's outside of that is even a weaker link to your revenue. So you're never going to be able to scale if all you're doing is waiting for other people to think about you.
Wow, that's an interesting point of view, right? Because we feel like that would be a strong income stream in reference to developing the right referrals from business, from people that you know, like, and trust.
Right.
But you say in reference to the website specifically that you have a way to be able to double the website revenue using that rule 26 that you created. How is that possible?
So you utilizing integrated marketing with the rule of 26, is that the question?
Yeah. Is it being able to double your website revenue using the rule 26?
Okay. Right. Great. So if you break it down into each of the three objectives, okay. So the first one I always start with is average revenue per client, and really focusing on who are you serving right now that has the best, that gives you the best return on your investment of time per the money that they're paying you, right? Who are your most profitable clients? And if we take a look at those and we say, okay, 80% of our revenue is usually coming from 20% of our clients. But what if 80% of your clients could give you a multiple of that 80% of revenue? And you do that by getting rid of those other 80% that are sucking all of the oxygen out of the room. right? Because if 20% is creating 80% of the revenue, I bet you that those 20% are not taking up they're taking up less than 80% of your time, right? If we use the 80-20 rule. So with that said, that means we have people there that are not as profitable, that are taking up more time than the ones that are profitable. So if we can identify that and create that difference of 26% per client, then we don't have to do anything with our pricing. We just have to do something with who we're serving, right? Another thing that we do with that, another tactic in there, is that we take a look at those people, that 20% there, and we find out what makes them tick. We also ask them, are you so happy with this that you wouldn't notice if we charged you maybe 26% more for the same services? Anybody who says yes, those are the people you listen to. Those are the people you dial into, and you figure out exactly what is it that you do for them that's so amazing that they would pay 26% more for no more service or output. Why do they sing your praises? Why do they stick with you without being a pain in the butt? Why do they, what are their interests? What are the pains that you overcome? All of those things right there, you want to take those into the next step. So that next step is talking to only those people on your website and in any of your marketing. And so all your messaging is around that target persona. We call it the perfectly profitable persona. Because when you only focus on what you want, you get more of what you're looking for, right? But if you're trying to be everything to everyone, you're going to continue to attract all these other outliers that are just sucking the oxygen out of your room. They're taking the energy, they're taking the profitability out of your business. And so when we do that, we a lot of times automatically increase the conversion rates for websites more than 26%, right? And if we hit 52%, guess what? 52% if we increase our average revenue per client by 26% and we do 52% more conversion rate, we have already doubled revenue. It's the math works out the way. We're not going to get too far into that, but just say 26% of that. Now that we understand that, okay, we know what converts on our website. Now let's go get more of those people that are like our perfectly profitable personas and find out where they hang out online. Find out where they engage online and find ways to then pull them into your website through those channels. Now you have the perfectly profitable personas reading messages specifically engineered for them, their pain points, their interests, their worries, their goals, whatever it is that you provide there. And those are going to turn into another of those core 20% that you have now, so that you can start firing the ones that are outliers that are sucking the oxygen out of the room.
Wow, that's fascinating. So I would suspect that there's a lot of listeners that they, if they would to use that formula, just like you said, that other 80% that they have to start letting them go and that sense, because you want to spend your time and effort of those 80% that you can serve and then find more of that same persona that you're marketing to.
Exactly.
So within that formula is the key aspect of that process. Then Michael is asking the questions of those core clients to be able to drill down on that specific niche of who you're really needing to serve.
A lot of it is pivots off of that, right? If you're trying to talk to the wrong people with the wrong message, you're going to get the wrong prospects, right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, right.
So if we start with the wrong input, we're going to get the wrong output. So with that, yes, going to the people who are already have identified as, I want more of those clients, right? As a listener, if you're sitting there going, think about your roster of clients and go, who would I like to have more of and who would I like to get rid of, right? So for every one of the folks that you'd like to get more of, I bet you they're so profitable you could get rid of two of the ones you'd like to get rid of. And so when I work with clients in this strategy here, we create these surveys that help them identify all of the attributes of a perfectly profitable persona. Okay, we call it the P3. And so when we have that P3, everything is focused on that. So really having that as your focal point definitely helps to answer your question there. But we also create a formula to say, how unprofitable are these other folks? Because sometimes we have to let at least one of those go so that we can make room for the next perfectly profitable persona.
Sure, that makes sense. So then, in your opinion, what is it that most service-centric businesses websites fail to create revenue?
Is exactly that, right? It's talking to the wrong people and giving them the wrong message. We try the biggest mistake I see in messaging is the I, we, us syndrome. How many websites have you gone to where you're like, hey, this person, their advertising talks about you, but then when you go to their website, all they talk about is themselves.
Yes.
Nobody cares what you know or what you have to offer until they know how much you care. And so when people write their websites out in the I, we, us format, they leave out the most important ingredient of that website, which is the visitor. That is the only person that matters. And so a lot of times when I even tell people, hey, take all the I, we, us and make it you and your, they still all they're doing is changing the terminology just to make sure that just enough to make it to where it makes sense to say you and your versus I, we, but they're still talking about them, right? And it's not about you. It's about them. It's about their pain. It's about their goals. It's about what they want. And if you can't meet them where they are and show them a way to where they want to be, what are they going to, why would they buy from you? Right? If you went to a car lot and you told the salesperson, hey, listen, I need to get from A to B as fast as possible. And then they brought you over to a bicycle with a little electric motor on it and started talking to you about the eco-friendliness of it and how it can keep you in shape and all that stuff. Are you really interested in the bike? No, because
Probably not. No.
that's not my goal. My objective is to get from there to point A to point B as fast as possible. That is not about eco. Now, if you had said, I want to have the fastest eco-friendly way of getting somewhere while staying in shape, now the bike makes sense. But that's what happens on websites. People are selling eco bikes to people who are looking for Lamborghinis. And so that's the biggest mistake. And then even if you do say, hey, I'm looking for a Lamborghini, they talk about all of the features of the Lamborghini versus all the things the Lamborghini can do for the driver.
Yeah, interesting. That's a totally different perspective, right? And that slight switch, I'm sure could just start to increase that revenue that you're talking about using that rule 26.
Yeah. And so what I do, one of the easy things you can do with your website right now, without working with me or any other marketing person, is just look at your website and put yourself in your perfect client shoes and say, what's in it for me? Start thinking, talking, and walking like your client when you're looking to structure your marketing. If you do that, you will do much better than any other way.
Yeah, perfect. I love that idea. So I'm curious, what's the best way to market service-centric businesses in 2023?
That depends on your industry, right? We have a lot. If you're in the home services businesses, it's a lot different than if you're in a professional services business. But I am finding that, a lot of people are talking about AI these days, right? And
Yes.
you got to get AI in this and AI in that, and AI can write your blogs and AI can do all of these things for your social media. I'm like, no, the best way, so to bridge the gap, of all of the idiosyncrasies of each industry, rather than talk about tactics, I want to talk about strategy. The strategy is called authenticity. Now, that is a buzzword that's way overused, right? But the thing is this, it's still true. Be yourself. I was just on a call yesterday with an author, best-selling author, and he's got something he geeks out on. What was he geeking out on? He was geeking out on fitness because he just turned 50 and he is in better shape than he was when he was 26, right? And he's found all this success, all this stuff, right? And he's like, I don't know if I should lean into the fitness and God and the things I'm really, really interested in. And I was like, why not? He says, well, what if they don't connect with that? I said, listen, I have a friend, his name is Adam Lyons. And Adam Lyons is very successful now. But the thing that he has always done has been very authentic, and meaning that he is a Dungeons and Dragons role playing comic book geek, right? From England, right? And the whole thing is this: half of his social media is him in full medieval garb with a two-hand sword, play fighting with other adult men. He's leaned into who he is because he knows that anybody who connects with them at that level will be a great client for them at the business level, because there is enough business for everyone to have their perfectly profitable personas in their business, right? And if you don't have to spend time being somebody you aren't already or are not naturally, right? How much of that energy can you now put into your service? How much of that bandwidth can you pour into the creative aspects of your business, strategy, whatever that looks like, right? If you are a solopreneur, how much more time now do you have to serve more clients? Because you don't have to pretend or try to figure out who to be for every person who walks in the door. You just be yourself. And if they like it, great. They stick around. If they don't like it, they'll find somebody else, and that's okay too.
Yeah, that's really freeing.
Yes, very.
Yeah, and I loved it. You also uncovered a belief system, and want just to point it out for our listeners that there's enough business out there for everyone. So be authentic, because you need to show up for those clients that are looking for you to be able to service them.
100%. Your profitability comes through the ease of doing business. Okay. And so when we talk about our P3, we are talking about finding a way or finding a type of person that will be easily satisfied in the same manner as the last person, because they have enough in common, right? And when you're able to do your work the same way over and over for each client, and a lot of people push back, well, I do something a little bit different for everybody. It's the core fundamentals must be the same for it to be profitable, right? If you're always bespoke services for every single person comes in, so you're starting from zero every single time, you will never grow past anything sizable as far as a business go, and you will be like chained to your business. You will never own a business. You own a job at that point. You have to be able to systemize, right? So if you can create a system that works really well for a smaller group of people, you don't have to have as many people to have in your group to be profitable, right? And the more you do that, the more profitable you get, because you get more efficient, you get more creative, you get more impactful, you get more results. The more results and the more impactful and the more efficient you are, the more you can charge. And the more you can charge and be more efficient, the more profitable you are. And so it becomes this feedback loop. And what a lot of people do is they grow to a certain size, and then they turn around and go, oh, wow, we did it for that vertical. Let's go over to this other persona and let's go do it over there too. And then they got to start all over again, versus doubling down on just that. I have a friend who does paid advertising on Google. What's called pay per click. So Google Ads. I don't know. I can't remember how he got into it, but he actually decided to start doing work with Montessori's. Okay. So they're this very special type of school, right? There's only 4,500 of them in the United States. He became the Montessori Google Ads expert of the United States. Grew it to, I want to say 8 figures, and then exited. There's no such thing as too niche. Just find the perfect type of client. He just found a formula that worked for them, and he felt that there weren't enough available in the United States. So his impact was, I'm going to make Montessori's more accessible to the kids in the United States and parents in the United States. That was his impact. It wasn't to make a bunch of money off of it, Montessori's, right? But he did. He made a lot of money because he created a lot of impact, and he was efficient because he only had one persona to serve. And there's a saying out there that says, you can't serve 2 kings. So find your king and serve it well.
Well, yeah, thank you for that insight, Michael. So leadership is influence. What's one of the top strategies that you share with your clients to help increase results?
It's funny. My influence comes from helping other people or other business owners, I should say, find their influence. I struggled a lot with imposter syndrome for a long time. I mean, it literally drove me to grow my first multi-million dollar creative agency broke. And when I say grow something broke, it doesn't mean that we couldn't pay our bills. It's that we paid our bills and there was nothing left. I lived in entrepreneur poverty. And so the impact that I have now, that I want to have now, is to serve as many companies out of entrepreneurial poverty and into profitability, scalable profitability as possible. So I find that, finding your influence is about finding your impact, and me helping people find their impact is one of the most rewarding things I can do. And in doing that, I think I create that influence.
So what authors have influenced you then along the way as you built your business?
Oh man, I do a lot of reading, and I read very little to none non fiction. So I'm a very big nonfiction reader. So when I first started out, I'd probably say when I first got started in marketing and sales, Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, was like one of the first self-help, self-inflection books that I was ever introduced to by my sales manager at Guitar Center in San Francisco. Actually, in Berkeley before San Francisco. So Berkeley. And that really kind of set me into motion of reading as many people as possible. The ones that had the most impact for me was when I started my recording studio in 2005. And I got introduced to a book by Michael Gerber called E-Myth. And it talks about how to grow, work on your business, not in your business. And then through
Yes.
the years, read a lot of different books out there, Good to Great and all the other things, but it wasn't until I read Profit First by Mike Michalowicz.
Oh yeah, that's a great book.
That changed my life. That I never understood money until I read that book. Like, I mean, I was good. I'm decent with money. Obviously, I didn't understand it well enough to really truly run a profitable business, right? Like we can make a lot of money, but it's not really about making a lot of money. It's about how much money you keep and how much impact do you have with that money, right? And so he taught me that, and and now I've become friends with him because of the impact he's had on me. And another book that he wrote that I really love is Clockwork, and he just rewrote it. But the original Clockwork, now they have Clockwork Revised, and that one freed me the rest of the way. Where E-Myth, kind of got me in the right direction, Clockwork freed me from working in my business or me working for my business even, right? And then a couple of ones that I've read that I really like recently is Friction by, I think his first name is Jin Wickman, Gin Wickman. And then What's Your Number? I don't remember the author. I'm really bad with names, so I apologize. But What's Your Number and Traction, sorry, are the two newest books that I've read that I feel are, when you're ready to get past the growth stage, you really need to systemize everything and be very super focused and very clear on what you're actually trying to do at any given moment in your business's career or lifespan. And so those two books really help you and your team start getting into the systemization of systemization, if you will, right? Like we all learn how to systemize how we do our business, but then finding a system that then creates efficiencies within those systems is a whole nother science. And I'm really very, very interested and just enamored with it right now. It's all about the scaling of businesses now.
So what does the future hold for you, Michael? Are you developing any special projects?
I have one very big. So speaking of scaling, So I wrote the book Rule of 26. I was going to do a big intensive on just diving into the Rule of 26 with a small group of business owners. And I realized that if I help people double up their marketing, if they're, and these are for folks that are already doing 7 figures and above, and we say, okay, you're going to go, I'm going to take you from 1 million to 2 million, and they don't pay attention to any of the other pillars of their business, then they're going to grow themselves broke like I did. And so I got together 5 other business experts. Each of us are experts in the 6, what I call the honeycomb paradigm, or the 6 pillars of scalable service-based businesses. And we're doing an intensive in St. Louis here this fall. And if people want to check it out, just go to growthtoscale.com, or they can check me out on my social media. You are Buzzworthy. Any of the channels, if you just go the letter U, the letter R, and Buzzworthy, you'll be able to find me, and I'll be talking about it there.
Oh, perfect. I'll make sure both of those links are in the show notes as well.
Beautiful.
Is that the primary way that if somebody wanted to reach out and connect with you, Michael, are those the links that you want them to be able to connect with?
If they're interested in the intensive, 100%. If they just want to check out the book, they can go to theruleof26.com. But if you want to dive into your marketing and really want to find ways to be efficient and also attract efficiently or profitable clients, check out buzzworthy.biz.
Okay, perfect. I'll add that to the show notes as well.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Michael, for being on the show, sharing your tips, strategies to helping our leaders break through their obstacles to be able to achieve success.
I appreciate you having me. It's my pleasure to serve.
Well, very good. Well, until next time, this is your host, Warren Wandling, saying, be resilient and be an obstacle buster.